What's up, my dear friends of the world? Paul The Trombonist here, and in this video I want to share with you behind the scenes of my record Moonglow. Some of you were asking me about my production style, so I thought maybe you may get some value if you're into music on how I go about composing and producing music. So the first thing that we're going to listen to is the first sounds that come out here. So the first thing we hear is piano. And right here, I got this piano from this keyboard right here. This is the Akai Professional MPC Key 61. And what's cool about this is, let me show you. So if you see in here, you can add some effects in here that's really quite pleasant for the vibe I was looking for. We have this jazz club piano that I'm using. And then here we can add some crackle. Adding a little bit of crackle, so it's like vinyl. It also reminds you of sitting by the fire and just a nice warm cozy night. Okay, so that's what we're using here for the piano sound. The next sound that you hear is a pad. This is a pad also from this keyboard. This pad is called Chocolate. Okay, I like this pad, so it's called the Chocolate pad. Now what's really cool about this keyboard is I do a lot of the initial production inside here, and then we export it. It allows you to loop the track, which allows you to kind of get in the zone and not deal with a computer or anything. So what happens is, what I'll do is I'll sit here by the keyboard, and then I'll start like a little loop of a certain form, maybe say like 8 bars or something like that. And then I start, I'll show you how it works. Watch this. So you go in here, and then you sequence it in. So you start with like maybe the piano, okay? So we got the piano in here. So I did like a lot of the track inside here. And we sequence it and we loop it. Okay? Now what's cool about it, we got the piano. What other sounds? We got the drums. Like drum effects going on in there. Next we got the bass. Next we got those pads I'm talking about. Chocolate. They're called Chocolate. Okay. Next we got some sound effects, some more sound effects, and I think that's all I used that's inside here. Now what I did is once I found the sounds, actually, I circled through the sounds. I started with one sound. I started with the piano. Now, this is a chord progression I've been playing since I was a teenager, and I wrote this track back then, and what I've done is I've refined it and finally made it releasable to the public. So that's just the progression. It's just a real chill vibe. And then we do a lot in here, and then we go into Logic, okay? So now that you know that, you get an idea of where we came from. So those are the first 2 sounds you heard. And just those sounds, does a lot. Does a lot, okay? Next thing you're going to hear, well, let's see, did I add any effects to them? Yeah. I just did a little gain and a little EQ on the piano, took the lows down, put the mids up. Hear what it sounds like without it. Put it in there and it gives it a little more presence. The pads, I added reverb to it. And I did some gain, and I took the lows out because it was too muddy with them in. And then we added the little plate, which is a really beautiful Sound Toys plug-in for reverb. Without it, doesn't sound as magical. Now it sounds magical. So a lot of this is by feel of how it sounds. Like, you can look at the graphs, you can look at the way things are EQ'd, but really it comes down to how does it sound, what's the vibe you're looking for. That's how I compose music, is I just go by the sound and what sounds good. And a lot of producers have told me that this mix, they really enjoy it, and a lot of people in the industry have told me that this is a good mix, so maybe we're onto something here. Okay, the next thing that you're going to hear is some vocals that I did. Oh, the trombone. We'll get to that soon. Let's get to the vocals first. So what I did was I did just me with this microphone. It's the Shure SM7B, and I'm just going. And what makes it work is they're panned hard left and right. We added some pitch correction, which is really fast response because I like to have that almost like otherworldly, non-human kind of a vibe. So that's why we added that. And we also added this delay. And we also added the sound toys before the delay, which is that reverb, and it's really a wet one, so it sounds like it's just like in another world. That's what I like. I like it to sound like it's in another world. See, this is with all the effects off. Listen to this. Boring. No one got time for that boringness. Listen to it in the mix. That sounds horrible, right? Watch what happens when you put this on there. Sounds like it's like magical, right? Like you're in a dream world. That's what we want. That was the vibe I was going for, like a relaxing, otherworldly dream world on this, okay? And then the bone entered, our friend, my trombone, my best friend. So here's the trombone. What did we use for it? Alright, check it out. What we used for the bone is we used the Royer 122 MK2, okay? Love this microphone. I just had it as a flat response. I put the negative 15 dB pad on it, and we use this one. It's the world's first phantom-powered ribbon microphone. It's a beautiful microphone for trombone and other things, but trombone sounds so good on it. That's what we used to record the bone. The trombone I used on this one, I believe I used my Shire's trombone on this one, 500 bore, 8-inch bell, yellow grass. Alright, next up. Okay, so that's what you're hearing so far. What did we put on the trombone? Well, we added some gain to the trombone guy. Okay, this is a nice little trombone guy. And then we rolled off we took the low end off and we boosted it at 2K. So it speaks in the mix. Listen to that, boring. Add it, sounds cool. I also added some pitch correction so it sounds otherworldly. That's kind of what it does. It makes it sound modern and otherworldly, right? It's subtle, you don't even hear it. The next thing we add is that little plate. I have it not quite as wet as the vocals, but it's wet. Listen to without it. Oh man, that's boring. That's not what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. Now we got the compression, just a standard stock Logic compressor. Nothing fancy at all. Okay, put it together. Boom. Now you're gonna notice there are some tracks in here that are muted. That's because not everything makes the final cut. What I like to do is I like to throw a lot out there, and then I like to take away and sculpt as I go on. That's what I like to do. Okay, next up we're gonna get the bass and the drums are gonna come in. So the first sound you're gonna hear is that bass. It's just simple. It's simple. One thing we added to it is a little radiator, so it pops. Because otherwise it gets muddy and lost in the mix. So what we do is we add this little radiator, kind of distorts it a bit subtly, so it pops. Listen to without it. You can't even hear it really. Put that in there and watch how the bass comes out. Amazing how that works like that. Next, we just got the clean drum tracks. I just created a sequence inside this keyboard here, and I exported it is one track. So sometimes you can take the individual stems of the drums. You have the cymbals, you can have the drums, the kick, hi-hat all separated. But sometimes you can just bounce down a mix of the drums. And I just liked the way it sounded in here, so I bounced it down as one track. And I have a clean version of it here. That's the beat, totally clean. What did I do with the EQ on there? I just popped it up. So the kick, that's for the kick. I wanted you to feel the kick. Without it, you don't hear it as much. And then I also added a compressed version of it. Now this one I totally highly affected out. I don't know if that's a word, but I affected out like crazy on this one. I added a crazy compression on there, right? I added a channel EQ, and I EQ'd, I took the high end off, I boosted it at 1K so you can hear it in the mix. I added this crystallizer thing. Listen to what that does. Here it goes. It's almost like a shaker. Then I added a limiter so you can hear it more. Without it, not as much. So what happens, let's take the compressor off so you hear that. gives it more presence. When you add it with the clean signal and the compressed signal with the affected signals, it gives it this cool thing going on. Oh, I think I added some binaural panner going on. Yeah, I added that. Added a binaural panner. See what happens when you take it off. Does something to it. I liked it, so I left it in. See? We go by sound. We don't go by any rules here. Alright, awesome. So next up, we are headed into the rest of the track. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. And it's going. Nothing changes much here. There's the master bus here. I'll show you what's on the master bus at the end. But it's doing something to what you hear, okay? Alright, now you hear these effects here. These are these lo-fi kind of ambiotic sounds. Is that a word? Ambiotic soundscape sounds. And I got those in here. They're like heavenly sounds. See that? They just give like texture to your productions. So I found a good one that fits this one, and we put it in there. All right, now we take it out. Let's listen to the rest. Did I add anything to it? Yeah, I did. So what we added to this sound effect, Pan Man, this really does a lot actually. So you see it's going... Without it, it's just like that. When we add Pan Man, you see how it's doing that? It's like automating this panning. It's so cool. Next up, took the lows down, took the highs down, and I boosted here. Why did I do that? Because you couldn't hear it in the freaking mix. You couldn't hear it in the mix. Barely. Listen. Now we hear it. We go by sound, folks. We don't go by what it's supposed to be. Because that's not... Oh, the textbook says that you have to do EQ like this on that and do that. Well, there's different elements that may not allow that to happen based on what other instruments are playing and what the mix is so far. You have to go by your feel and the sound of it. That's how I produce, because that's how music is. It's what you hear and feel. These little changes add up to big changes. About to get into the B section. What do we got going on here? Alright. First thing that's going on here is we have some sort of transitionary percussion. It's like a 808 bass with a kick. Just to add a vibe. On there, I put nothing on it. I didn't need anything on it. Sometimes things don't need anything on it. If it doesn't need anything on it, you don't put nothing on it. All right? So we got that going on. You notice some things are muted. I didn't need them. I didn't want them in there. They were a distraction. I may show you what those are in a second. But for now, let's listen to what's actually made the cut. So we have the cymbal crash. I like to do these little transitionary things. So you know a change has happened, so you know it's entering a different world. There we go. So now we go to the cymbal. I added tons on that crash. I added a lot of effect because it needed it. I liked that long tail, how it goes. Listen to that. Oh, that's so cool, right? So I added a huge reverb. It's like pretty wet. I added this Echo Boy. Without it, look at the Echo Boy does. Look how boring that is. Put the Echo Boy on. Watch what happens. That's what we want. And we added some EQ so you can hear it in the mix, because I wasn't hearing it like I wanted it to. So I just found the spot where I heard it, and that's all I did. I go, what spot sounds that I can hear it now? Okay, that's the spot. Not what rules people have of what you gotta EQ things at. You just go, okay, it sounds better. Okay, cool. Right. And then we go into one of my favorite plugins of all time. It's this plugin. It's these Contact Spitfire chamber strings. Now, the key to making strings sound good, these are sampled really great string section chamber strings. The key to making it sound good is the way you touch the way you touch the keyboard so it sounds real. Because you could easily go, doesn't sound real. It's the way you do it. Okay, and what's so cool about this is you can actually change like the microphone placement. We got this microphone on, and listen to this. You can change your microphones. So I like this microphone. So it mimics a microphone. Like, where's the microphone at? Are you getting more string? Are you getting more bow? Where are you in the room? It's amazing plugin. It's the best. The strings sound insane. So we're using that. It's like a counter melody. And I added actually some reverb on it. Because listen to what happens when you don't use it. It doesn't quite work. It's too much. I need it to sound like we're in another world. Like we're in this world together. Not like something's overdubbed on top of it. And then I have my voice. I do something different now. In this thing. And it's just panned hard left. That would be weird, but it sounded good to me. People would say, why are you panning a random thing to the left? Listen to what it sounds like without this stuff. Watch what happens. Wow, it takes you to a totally different world, right? You add those together. Add the piano. Piano's got the crackle. Add some fills. Oh, but that didn't make it. That didn't make it. Those did not make it. These made it. Alright, I'm getting confused. Now what we do, let's go. Alright, you know what else didn't make it? These ones. These pizzicatos. Those didn't make it. I felt it was too busy. Listen to what it sounds like. Too busy. It doesn't need it. It's not. If something doesn't enhance the track, you take it out. Even if it's cool, if it doesn't overall serve the purpose of the entire track, you take it out. And then this one. Those didn't make the cut either. Sorry guys, you didn't make the cut, you didn't pass. Next up is this hi-hat. This little texture it adds. Because watch what happens when you don't have, I use Echo Boy, space, and delay. Watch what happens when you don't have them. Boring. Put those on. Watch what happens. That's what I want. That's what I want. Just gives it a vibe. We're all about vibe here. That's the whole point. I want to take people on a journey. And then I like to do fills to the next section. We added is like a little bell effect. And we have phase mistress on it. Listen to it without it. I like that sound. It kind of reminds me, when you hear it all together, it's like this ostinato that goes on. When you hear it all together, it reminds me like the Halloween movie, like an 80s movie. It's just running in the background. It's almost like driving it, like creating this momentum, like driving it, creating this momentum. I like those transitional effects. So you know it's different. I learned that from being a jazz freak my whole life. And then this ostinato is going the whole time. It's going the whole time. Alright, so now the drums are out. So every single time I like to go to a section, I like to change something. You either take something away or you add something to it. So it's always an ear candy for the listener. So it's not always the same thing. So it's always a different experience. It gets people to want to listen to the song. No drums. The strings. Pentatonic lick. Soundscaping vibe effect. So if you notice, I panned the cellos to the left and I panned the violins to the right. So the cellos, we love the cellos. Just the strings alone are very mesmerizing. Like you can just have this. Two tracks. Super mesmerizing. Just jam out on that all day. Now let's talk about the master bus. The master bus, we got a limiter on it. Okay? Got a limiter on it. We got a little EQ on there. I felt that needed a boost there. We got a little bit of a compressor to consolidate everything so it sounds like one unit. And we have this mastering tool called Goldfloss, which is pretty cool. Listen to what Goldfloss sounds without it. Did you hear that? It's like it goes into 3D. Let's listen to the beginning. No Goldfloss. Listen. Sounds like it's in 3D now. Okay, so that is my record, Moon Glow. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you found this helpful or valuable or you enjoyed watching this, let me know in the comments. This is something different. I've never gone behind the hood of my productions before. People were asking, and I just wanted to share with you on how I produced this track. If you found it valuable, just let me know. If you don't like seeing these things, let me know. Either way, all I ask is for a little like and subscribe. It helps spread my love of music. I love music, obviously, and I'm sure you do too. So that's where we're at. It's Paul the Trombonist signing off, and I appreciate you. You take care. Bye-bye.